Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Wokey, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. And today we're going to be talking about the Pilgrimage Festival 2, which is going to be the most likely upcoming event to the game. The reason is that they've already told us that it's going to be coming out on the 17th, and that is when Little Harlot is going to be releasing. Not to say that that's the only thing upcoming. We still have the Lotto event, which is likely going to happen sometime around the 22nd, just because they came out with a social media campaign where we have until the 22nd to reach the allowed amount of shares or likes or whatever the hell they're looking for in that. And the other thing is, of course, the constantly in theory coming out at some point spring new mastery aid campaign. I remember hearing someone's theory or coped theory that they will attach this to the Pilgrimage Festival too, just because it's a good way to get people, new people to be joining into the game, which, I can definitely see them doing it, and I think they mentioned something about that during the stream, but I wasn't going back to hear the video again. I wasn't sure if they were talking about this upcoming Pilgrimage Festival is a good time to start, or in general, it's a good time to start with the Pilgrimage Festival things, just because you get welfares that will help you out early on in the game. So, don't know. We'll see pretty soon, though. But yeah, for today's video, we're going to be talking about the Pilgrimage Festival 2. Hope you like it. If you do, feel free to leave a like, comment, tell me what you're looking forward to, if you plan to summon on any of these banners, and which one of these you like or something, whatever you want to say. Hey, if you want to just say hello, whatever you want to say, and let's get into it. Also, if you can't tell, I can definitely feel it. I feel like I have a slight sickness to me, and you may occasionally hear coughing in the background. It's because my brother is also uber sick, so forgive me if you hear anything about it. Can't do nothing about it, but we have to keep on moving forward. So, Evocation Festival Part 2. They'll be introducing 4 welfares that you can see here. Halloween Liz, Brave Liz, Mysterious Idol X, and Original Old Ass Nobunaga. Here they all are on a single picture here. Very nice, very well done. Inside the shop, the following things will be added, which is, like I said, the 5 copies of Brave Liz. This is going to be true, but I guess just 5 copies for the servant. For the Ascension material, 480 of the medals, because they're in 10 stacks each, and you can exchange it 48 times. And that will be true for all of them, and none of them have a special costume to them, so there will be no costume added this time. If this is your if you already have them, you will not be getting a rare mana prisms if this is your 6th copy or more, because they used to do that when it was event stuff, but they don't do it if you're just getting them from the shop. And also, more of these leaves will be made available for daily missions or extra missions. It'll almost feel like they never even left, to be 100% real with you. It sure won't feel that way. And then for a limited time, you'll also get more of them from daily login bonuses and limited time master missions. From when the campaign starts until it ends, this is how it's going to look like. The login will be, will have a total of 10 sync quartz to them, so make sure to get them on that day. On the first day, it'll be 30, and then 2 days later is when you get the first hint of the 2 sync quartz, and then 3 days later is when you'll get the 3 sync quartz, or 4 days later, I should say, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 4th day, and then on the 3rd day, 2 sync quartz again, and then on the 4th day, 3 sync quartz, for a total of 10 sync quartz. Take them where you can get them. There'll also be limited time master missions as well. Complete these to get even more 10 sync quartz, which is nice. That's almost, you're 10 away from a multi. Sweet. And you'll also be able to get crystallized lore and a bunch of these leaves to go spend on the shop itself. Limited time master missions, I already mentioned, so we'll go down. And then there'll be campaigns, which are the basic 2 times EXP when leveling up the specific event servants that you can see here. If you're a big fan of getting your favorites to level 120, I highly recommend doing, if you have one of these is one of your favorites, to do this during this campaign. I did this with Sambaquets, and it was a lifesaver, it felt like. That was my 4th level 120, and it was the easiest one, and the one I enjoyed the most out of all of them, just because of how easy it was and how much the bar actually went up. If you've ever tried to do a level 120 without this 2 times EXP gained, it is slow like molasses, even when you have the correct EXP attached to them. It really super sucks. And if you get the right great or super suck on this, oh, amazing. Can't recommend it enough if you like to see the numbers go up. But yeah, that will be there for all 4 of the units pictured here. Great and super success chance for all servants will be available, along with 1/2 QP cost when leveling up. Excuse me. Selected Ember Gathering quest will also be available with half AP, which is going to be the Rider Saber node, Ember Gathering node, and the Caster Archer, because obviously we have a Saber, a Caster, and Archer, and unfortunately this is a foreigner, so she just gets whatever is left over. And then all 4 of these targeted servants will have 50% damage bonus across main story quests or event quests, whichever one you want to do them in. Which I actually saw online that some people found that this was kind of annoying because it wasn't a good way to gauge how strong the character was. Which is like, it ain't all that serious. It's just a slight boost. It is a very nice boost. It does kind of, I guess, get in the way of seeing how strong is a unit actually. But I don't know. I like that they make them extra helpful during this time and period. And then 3 of these units are going to get a strengthening. One is going to be Brave Liz, Halloween Liz, and the other one is going to be Nobunaga, because obviously Idol is still good in general, so that will be, it's an easy thing to say, like, oh yeah, don't give her a buff just yet. For Halloween Liz, Innocent Monster EX will turn into Halloween Star EX, which she'll get an upgrade to the generating stars per turn, her heal to herself, and then the ability to remove the new effect is remove 1 recent buff from all enemies, and then if previous effect succeeds, apply Happy Halloween debuff to all enemies for 3 turns. That's a new effect. Happy Halloween applies critical chance down 10% to all enemies, and then gain 20% MP charge for every Happy Halloween debuff on all enemies. That's a new effect. For Brave Liz, it's an increase to her NP, which lets her deal more damage, and then a new upgrade is it increases the burn damage on them by 200% for 5 turns, and that's a new effect. And for Nobunaga, Strategy B gets turned into Nobunaga Tactics B, which the new effects to it are apply Buster Strength up to all allies and MP Strength to all allies for 3 turns, along with the already there effect of giving them NP gain and stuff like that. So, very nice buffs for all of them. For some of them, I think they likely will need more buffs just because of how old they are. Like, all these units are. This is like a early ass days units for 2 of these, and then Brave Liz was like a year later, so she's not that much younger than the others. So it's kind of nice that they buff them. Plus, if you look at it this way, you get them from the shop, you level them up, you get them to the right level to get these strengthenings. That's 6 easy St. Quartz to you right there. Very nice, and very nice to be added. And then finally, we'll talk about the summoning campaigns. If you want to know how I feel about these specific units, Brave Liz, I think, requires some specific, like, I think she's a fun unit to use, but probably not practically good. There's probably better single-target sabers out there for Buster. Caster Liz, I think, actually needs just a little bit more because she's an AoE unit that was designed before AoE. I think that's what they tried to do with charging own MP gauge by 20% based off of the number of enemies, but I'm not sure it's actually enough, just because it has to actually apply the fact that they had a buff and stuff like that, and then give them Happy Halloween. It would have been a little bit easier to just give herself. If you wanted to use her for looping, I guess. Oh, no, actually she has a 30% NP, so she might actually be alright for that. I'm actually going to test this for later on, but she still would not be on the same level as Caster Coup, but at least you wouldn't need to have gone up to Lost Belt 6 to unlock the ability that makes Caster Coup insanely broken. So, nice for a starting out player for sure. Nobunaga is also really, really old. Insanely old, and probably needs these 2 skills to still be buffed. 100% versus Divinity is nice, but it lasts for a single turn. And this is an AoE unit, not a single target one. And plus her bonuses against riding enemies. Very, very weird unit design, but I still like the look of her, and I've always liked this. I think Baco did real nice art for both of these. Cool unit. Very cool unit. Anyway. And Idol is just, I think, generically good, so she still works out, unless you have a foreigner that already is capable of doing AoE stuff in some capacity. I think it's pretty nice if you're going against an Evo alignment. But either way, these are all free units. Could be very helpful for anyone who is just starting out the game to be able to have any of them. And now we'll go to the summoning campaigns, which feature a banner that has Vlad and Liz, another banner that features Okita and Summer Nobunaga, and then another banner that features Mysterious Heroine X and Mysterious Heroine XX, which is the summer version. So we'll go over the 5 stars on here because I've been making a pretty bad habit of not actually going over the 5 stars. So I figure I'm gonna go over them in this one video, so I can at least give my thoughts and opinions of them. So let's get into that. But before I do, I'll talk about the 4s really quick. For Liz, similar to the other Lizzes, I feel like a lot of the Lizzes fall into a category of they're in no way the absolute best, but they're also not the absolute worst. And in general, it's fun to use a lot of the Liz units because it's Liz. And that's how I kind of feel about regular Lancer Liz. Probably not a unit most people go for. You actively randomly get her because she's not limited in any capacity, so you wouldn't ever be going for her specifically. If you're going on the Vlad banner, it's because you want Vlad. Or you're just that big of a Liz fan that you're like, no, I want Lancer Liz. And it's also possible to play the game and just never get Lancer Liz. My brother doesn't have Lancer Liz. This is still surprising to me every time he tells me this, but yeah, he doesn't actually have this Liz, and he's been playing since basically the start. So, you know, there you go. If you're a big Liz fan, I guess go for it. As for the other ones, these 2 are summer units. You never need a good justified reason to summon for a summer unit because you usually want them because they're in a bikini. But what I'll say is for Summer Nobu over here, she does have an anti-divinity NP, and she's a berserker with Buster, which can make her very nice if you're ever going against a specific raid. I've used her in the past for that reason, where there's a divinity raid, and I just need to quickly mow them down with a berserker and nothing else. She's pretty good at doing that. And I believe Mysterious Heroine X is similar, except for she is arts, and she deals damage against 200% extra damage against a saber. If you really want to see a saber dead and you don't want to use an archer or Mysterious Heroine X the assassin, then she'll work out for you in that case. And plus she also has a bonus damage against threats to humanity enemies. It's only for a single turn, but it's still kind of nice. She also has threat existence outside of the domain, so she can be used with those kind of units. But like I said previously, for both of them, the thing is true. These are summer units. You never really need a reason for wanting to acquire a summer unit outside of I really like what you got going on here. Especially I like this. I think this is cool. Reminder that Mysterious Heroine XX Alter is actually going to be coming up a year from now. So looking forward to that when the time comes. But anyway, let's actually talk about the 5s. We'll start with Vlad. Vlad is a berserker. He has 1 quick card, 2 arts cards, and 2 buster cards with 2 hits on the quick, 2 hits on the arts, and 1 hit on the buster with 3 hits on extra. This is an early-ass unit kit that I've ever seen because of how little the hits he has. His active skills are for skill 1, Bloodsucker A, chance to reduce one enemy's NP gauge by 1 and then charge his own NP gauge. The drain chance is 100% and then add level 10, and at level 10 he gets 30% NP back on a cooldown of 6. His second skill, which eventually replaces Shapeshift C with Legend of Dracula after an interlude. So Legend of Dracula, the Succession of Blood A+, which sounds like a horror movie now that I read it out loud. It increases his defense and attack for 3 turns, 30% to defense and attack, and a cooldown of 5. In his third skill, after a strengthening, it turns Battle Continuation A into Fearsome Immortal A+, grants self a gut status for 1 time, 1 turn, stackable with other guts. Grants self gut status for 1 time, 5 turns. Increases own MP generation rate for 3 turns. 2,500 HP recovered with both of the gutses when they trigger. And 30% to NP rate on a cooldown of 7. His passive skills are Madness Enhancement EX, which increases his buster performance by 12%. His third skill is an anti-lancer critical attack chance resistance, because trust no one, not even yourself. And his Noble Phantasm is rank B+, the Kazakili Bey, the Bloodstained King Demon, rank B+, anti-unit. It hits 10 times. Deals damage to 1 enemy. This is also rank B+, because it's been strengthened twice. Did this, just to be sure, this one already came out? Yes, it did. Yes, it did, because this came out in 2021, so he already has this, just to be double sure. Rank B+, hits 10 times, deals damage to 1 enemy, and then reduces their arch resistance by 20% for 3 turns. The MP damage at level 1 is 1,200, and if you get him all the way to MP level 5, it's 1,800. And then he gains some crit stars, which is 20 at charge level 1, and if you get him all the way to the final charge level, it is 40. And that is Vlad. He is So here's the thing about Vlad. I think he's actually a really cool Berserker arts unit who can very effectively get his NP back. The biggest issue, so I would say that in the current state of the game, the way it is now, if you're looking for a single target arts Berserker, Vlad is your man. The problem is we're about to head into summer, and inside summer this year is Berserker Castoria, and she is the best single target arts Berserker by a wide margin. So it kind of is a feel bad if you're a big fan of Vlad, unless you're just a specific fan of the man. It can be very hard to justify going on this banner because literally there's a better unit, and also he's not even limited. So there's a good chance that while you're going for Berserker Summer, Castoria Berserker, and this summer, that you see a Berserker card light up to gold, and then Vlad pops up instead. I don't want to put that curse on you, but it is something that can happen to you. So should you really be summoning for Vlad? No, you really shouldn't. Probably not a good idea to do so. But I really do like Vlad. It's one of those unfortunate things. It's like, if you actually like the character, I think this is a perfectly good unit, and he'll do you perfectly good, and you'll love your dude, and you'll be like, oh man, it's awesome. They built him so well. But if you're someone who's specifically going, I need a single target Berserker, it's a bad time to invest in Vlad stocks with what's coming up into the future. Plus, because he's not limited, you could always pick him up off a ticket if you cared that much about him to that extent. But at the same time, if you cared about him that much to that extent, likely you're already summoning. I remember seeing someone most recently saying, like, no, I'm going to be going for a non-limited unit because I don't want to wait. It was for Gene. It was for Ruler Gene. They said, I'm going to do it. I'm going for it. And I said, you know what? Go with God. That's all you can say to people like that. They need the luck. And we'll move on to the next unit, which will be Okita. Okita Soji. You okay, boy? He's okay. Don't worry, everyone. Okita Soji. She is a saber. Also known as Okita Soji, or the Sakura Saber. I've never heard anyone call her the Sakura Saber, except for maybe my friend Guts. I should ask him if he calls her the Sakura Saber, actually. Anyway, she has 2 quick cards, an arts card, and 2 buster. She has 5 hits on the quick, 2 hits on the arts, 1 hit on the buster, and 3 hits on extra. Her first skill, which after strengthening turns into Shukuchi B+, increases own quick performance for a single turn, grants self a buff on attack buff for 1 turn, increases own attack by 20% for 1 turn when normal attacking, activates first, 50% to quick and a cooldown of 5. Her second skill is the Peerless Blade A, which is evolved from Weak Constitution A after Interlude 1. Increases own critical star absorption for 1 turn, increases own critical damage for 1 turn, charges own NP gauge, 1,000 absorption, crit damage is 50% and the MP is 30% on a cooldown of 5. Her third skill is Eye of the Mind False A, grants self-evasion for 1 turn. And then increase own critical damage for 3 turns, 40% to crit damage on level 10. And the cooldown is 6. Her passive skills are Magic Resistance E and Writing E, and her third skill is an Anti-Avenger Attack Damage Aptitude, which I believe there's not actually an Okita Avenger in the game at the moment, but it's interesting that she has this. And her Noble Phantasm is the Mumyo Sandanzuki, which is the Avidya 3-stage thrust. Avidya? Yeah, sure, let's go with that. It's an anti-unit Mystic Sword, rank, no rank. Hits 3 times, it's quick, it deals damage that ignores defensive buffs to 1 enemy. The damage at level 1 is 1,200, and if you get her all the way to MP level 5, it's 2,000. And then reduces their defense for 3 turns, 30% at level 1, and if you get her all the way to the final charge level, it is 50%. And she does actually have a nifty other costume, which you can see here, where she can wear her Shinsen Gumi outfit. Okita. So, the main thing about Okita is that these 2 skills only last a single turn, so that's kind of a bummer, for sure. So you really want to be building up for that one single turn and have one really good turn, which means that if you ever get screwed out and you don't have the correct cards for it at any given time, you'll kind of be left in the dust a little bit by Okita, which kind of sucks. But the third skill is actually held up pretty nice. Being able to give yourself 40% crit damage over 3 turns is pretty crazy for when she was released. Plus, she'll be generating crit stars like crazy because she is a quick unit, and quick units are extremely good at doing that. And then if you just have the idea of like every 5 turns or so, I'm gonna have an insane turn, and you start kind of balancing it around that, I think she'll be perfectly fine and still usable. But I could see someone saying like, hey, it would be nice if Okita got a little bit more of a buff, just because it's kind of basic, but it will do you well in a lot of cases. I kind of wish I actually had Okita in a lot of ways. I've tried for her over the years, but I always fail. So definitely a unit, especially because I don't think there's way too many single target quick units. But at the same time, we have a lot of really good welfares who are single target, like and quick. Like, for example, Santa Karna, which Santa Karna is an amazing single target quick. Plus, a lot of people just got Ku, so it can be kind of easy to skip over her if that's all you're looking for. If all you're looking for was a single target saber, then you're probably already good in the most case because you already have a single target saber quick unit on you that's really effective and good. But a lot of the time, most people will be summoning for Okita because it is literally Okita, and it's like, I want Okita because it's her. Like my friend Gutsu, who is a big fan of Okita and follows her wherever she may go. It doesn't matter what she does, though I think at the same time he probably would like an Okita buff of some kind. But anyway, I digress. I think at the end of the day, everyone kind of wants a buff for one of their favorites, right? I've never seen someone who like has a favorite unit and goes like, actually, I'm satisfied. I don't need any more buffs. Give it to someone else. No, everyone is perfectly happy with a buff. To their fave. It's just the way of the game. And finally, we'll go to the last unit, which is Mysterious Heroine X. Speaking of a unit who's been buffed because they're the fave of some kind, we have Mysterious Heroine X, also known as Heroine X. Never take Heroine X. Mysterious Heroine X, MHX, Afru X, Mysterious Racer X. No, that's a different character. That's crazy. Don't try and trick me. 2 quicks, 2 arts, 1 buster, 4 hits on quick, 2 hits on arts, 1 hit on buster, 4 hits on extra. Her active skills are Fire Support XEX, which is upgrades after Strengthening 2 and replaces Fire Support EX, reduces all enemies' defense for 3 turns, 500% chance to grant self a delayed buff for 1 turn, chance to stun all enemies for 1 turn, after 1 turn. So the stun is... happens a turn later. It is not even 100%. Defense lowering is 20%, and the stun chance is 80% on a cooldown of 7. Her second skill is the Star of Saber C++, which evolved from Instinct to C+. Grant self-invincibility for a single turn and then gain crit stars. 20 crit stars on a cooldown of 5, which is better than what Instinct C was previously, which was 14 crit. It was 14 stars. That was it. And her third skill, which is upgrades after Saber Wars 2 or Interlude 4, replaces the Galaxy Meteor Sword C with the Galaxy Meteor Sword XEX-A. Increases own critical star generation rate against Saber enemies for 3 turns. Increases own damage against Saber enemies for 3 turns. Increases own attack for 3 turns. 100% up to against Saber. The crit stars versus Saber is increased by 100%. The damage versus Sabers is 50%, and the attack increase is 20% on a cooldown of 6. I think previously it was just the Saber. Yeah, it was just literally the Saber stuff. They added the additional attack. And this is on a cooldown of 6. Her 2 passive skills are Riding EX and Cosmo Reactor A, which is an increased own critical star generation rate by 10%. Her pen skill, get ready for a shock of your life, is an anti-Saber attack damage aptitude. Would never have guessed it. Based off of the kit, no way. No way. Trust no one, not even yourself. And her Noble Phantasm, which is rank EX after Interlude 3, is the Secret Caliber, the Sword of the Unsigned Victory. Rank EX, anti-unit, quick, hits 12 times, deals damage to a single enemy 1,600 at level 1 and 2,400 at level 5, and then deals damage against specifically Artoria face enemies. So 150% at charge level 1, and if you get her all the way to the final charge level, it's 200%. And she also does have her own nifty outfit, which is Mysterious Heroine Z. So, that's Mysterious Heroine X. She has a buff on every... She's one of the very few units that has a buff on absolutely every single aspect of her kit, and she needs another buff. I think it's been long enough since the last. So when Mysterious Heroine X actually first released, she was kind of very, very, very underpowered in a lot of ways. Not the greatest unit in the world. Like, for example, this is what her original kit was, which was like a stun that shows up a turn later at 80%, 14 crit stars, and some bonus against sabers, and the damage against, I think... Yeah, and then just this, and just dealt slightly less damage. So she does deal a lot more damage, and if you want to specifically fight against someone who is an Artoria face and deal a buttload of damage, I think she can still likely do a lot of that. The thing is that she is so hyper-specific that that's really all she can do. I don't know what they were thinking with this skill. I still don't 100% know what they were kind of cooking up with this skill. I've been trying to think about this for a while. I've always been bugged about this skill because I've always said I don't understand the idea of needing a stun a turn later than when it comes in and putting a cooldown of 7 on this. I feel like this skill could be used a little bit more to be buffed a little bit more. Like, take a look at, like... This is maybe whatever. This is a unit that literally just released. And by the way, I know I'm being extra harsh on here, but this is only because I really want her to get an additional buff. Because I think she's cool. This is like one of the coolest units that they've ever released that was like a FGO original from the early days. Like the idea of there being a Artoria hunter and she's literally going galaxy to galaxy in the Servant Verse hunting down other Artorias is, I think, one of the coolest things ever. So the fact of the idea that she is still not at the level I want based on how cool she is always bugs me. But anyway, I'm going to look at a most recently released alter ego, which is Tiamat. And Tiamat, you can see here, okay, she has a 60% chance to stun all enemies, but this happens immediately. For a 20% increase, I don't feel it's fair to say that this gets a delay by a single turn and you get 20% extra chance. I don't think that that's a necessarily fair way to balance out a character. Especially because I think this provides more with 30% attack up and 30% buster up and curse damage. There's like 3 different things, and this is on a cooldown of 6. This is on 7. What I'm saying here is that please buff Mysterious Heroine X. She's like too cool of a unit. I know for a fact people are going to be going for her. Don't give a crap what I have to say about this unit. It doesn't matter to them how bad she is, or how whatever she is. And again, I don't really think that she's all that necessarily bad. She's just super niche. She just wants to fight specifically Artorias. I just feel like this one specific skill is a good way of looking at it and be like, how can we make this improve in some kind of way that makes her better to fight against other Artorias? You know what? Give me 1 sec, because I just need to check something. Okay, I was just quickly checking to see if anyone agrees with the way I see it, and I feel like most people are in the agreement that she is not definitely one of the strongest ones. Because again, when I'm looking for a single target, even for single target assassins, for example, the best one in my opinion is Kama. She's always going to be the best because she has a which is another. I can go here and go to servants. It's easier if I just show it here. But this is the one that's kind of, I feel like they've released her, and I think they've never been able to do her up in any kind of capacity so far, in terms of quick and for quick assassins. This is Kama, and she's been kind of the go-to assassin for quick for as long as she's been out, basically. But she has an ability that says, like, okay, she has a chance to give them charm, and then she deals bonus damage because she gives them charm. And a lot of her kit is also kind of focused in on keeping her alive or doing some extra stuff, and then a lot of her bonus is tied to the Noble Phantasm. I just feel like, again, it would be nice if Mysterious Heroine X had a little bit more, because I can see if that's the pinnacle of what is expected for a single target quick assassin, for single targets. And I'm not even saying, because I have to check the JP if they've released another one, but I'm pretty sure they've never released another single target quick that has ever come on the level of comma in any kind of capacity. But feel free to tell me if I'm wrong on that. I just feel, even if there was, if they released another better one down the line, that just increases what I'm saying here, which is I feel like they need to give a little bit more to Mysterious Heroine X. They either need to buff her in a way to make her stay on the field and make her more effective against Artoria faces, or she gets to deal more damage to them in some kind of way. And I do think that they can keep on buffing her, and she can keep on getting buffed, because it doesn't matter if you have all your skills buffed, you can have another one buffed. I think Emiya Archer has like the most buffs on any one thing, if I remember correctly. Because Emiya has, like, Emiya is the golden boy as far as like, he's concerned to anything. Yeah, he has like... he's had this skill buffed so many times, and it's an insane skill here. There's more. They can do more. They can do further. They even gave him a buff that changes NP to arts, which is a thing people have said, man, if this guy was arts, he'd be insane. And then they let it happen. And he was insane, even if it was only for a single turn. But anyway, I've gone on long enough. Mysterious Heroine X, I think she's cool. If you decide to go for her, I wish you the best of luck. And just know that, at the minimum, this is a big bonus. That's at least 2, 4, 6... No, well, some of these are interludes. 2, 4, 6... That's 6 St. Quartz, plus an additional one from the interlude. 7 St. Quartz. Crazy. 7 St. Quartz to a single unit, plus 3 more. That's 10 from getting her full ascension. You're like 1/3 of the way to a multi. That's a return on investment at that point. Anyway, I'm goofing around too much. My head is hurting. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching the video. I wish you the best of luck. Again, when they release actually more information, I really do hope eventually that they announce the upcoming new story thing, just because there's a banner in here that would also be very annoying if they just released, because it features Merlin in it, and I know there's people waiting for Merlin. That's the thing that's tied to Spring New Master's Aid campaign. If Merlin wasn't attached to this video, I wouldn't to this event, I wouldn't be like, okay, so it needs to happen now. But no, the fact that Merlin is tied to it is kind of an annoying thing to me, because Merlin is very good, especially with his buff that he gets down the line. That makes him really good for Buster Crit stuff, but I've gone on long enough. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Best of luck. I'm going to go not talk for a bit now. Till next time. Peace out. Bye.